Hey guys, welcome back. I know it's been a while. I'm still pregnant. My due date is June 15th, so I've been a little preoccupied. But tonight I wanted to talk about something that's a little bit heavier. Not in a hopeless way, more in a human way. Like a life is short and feelings are real kind of way. I've just been thinking a lot lately about how temporary everything is. And I don't mean just relationships, but life itself. We wake up every day assuming that there will be another conversation, another apology, another chance to say what we meant to say, another opportunity to love people properly. And the truth is, we don't really know that. Tomorrow isn't promised. And I think once that truly clicks for you, not just mentally but emotionally, it changes the way that you move throughout life. It changes the way you love. It changes what matters to you. It changes what feels worth fighting for and what no longer feels important at all. I used to think that loving deeply automatically meant you had to be loved back the exact same way for it to matter. Like if things didn't become official, permanent, mutual, or perfectly balanced, then somehow it's like the love itself was embarrassing or pointless. But I don't think that anymore. I think some people come into your life and change the way your heart exists forever. And I don't mean obsession. I don't mean losing yourself. I don't mean begging someone to choose you. I mean genuinely loving someone and realizing, you know what? I don't regret this feeling. Even if life changes later, even if distance happens, even if things evolve, even if the ending isn't what you imagined or hoped for. I think we're taught to shut our feelings off the second they become inconvenient, to protect ourselves at all costs, to detach immediately, to act unaffected, to pretend that people don't matter the second that things become uncertain. But to me, that's never felt natural. And honestly, I don't think that loving somebody sincerely is something to be ashamed of. If tomorrow wasn't promised for me, I don't think that my biggest regret would be loving too deeply. I think my biggest regret would be pretending I didn't feel the things that I did just because I was scared of being vulnerable or scared that the love wouldn't be returned in the exact same way. I know there are people listening right now who understand exactly what I mean because they've loved someone for years, quietly, gently, without needing ownership over them. Some of you have loved people from close up. Some of you have loved people from a distance. Some of you have had to let people go while still carrying that love for them. Some of you still think about someone every single day, and you probably always will. And I need you to know that that doesn't automatically make you weak. Love doesn't just become meaningless because it changes form. Sometimes love becomes friendship. Sometimes memory, gratitude. Sometimes it becomes this quiet thing that you carry in your chest forever, but without resentment attached to it. And I think that the healthiest version of that kind of love is when you stop trying to possess people and start appreciating them for what they are in your life right now. That doesn't mean allowing disrespect. That doesn't mean abandoning yourself. And that doesn't mean waiting forever or putting your life on pause. Your life should still continue. You should still grow, laugh, meet people, chase goals, and discover yourself outside of that person. Because unconditional love should never require self-destruction. And I think that's the part where people get a little confused. People hear, I'll always love them, and assume that means desperation, obsession, or refusing to move on with their life. But sometimes it simply means This person mattered to me in a real way, and I'm not interested in pretending otherwise. And that's it. Some of you are still trying to reach that level of peace with love. So let's talk about that too. Because a lot of people don't know how to love without fear. They love while constantly calculating, what if I get hurt? What if they leave? What if they don't choose me? What if I care more than they do? And I promise you, I understand that fear. I really do. But I think one of the biggest mindset shifts that you can make is realizing that love is not wasted simply because it's not permanent. Somebody can change your life without staying forever. Somebody can teach your heart something important, even if the relationship never becomes what you planned. Somebody can matter deeply without belonging to you. And once you stop viewing love as a type of transaction, you start experiencing it differently. You stop asking things like, what can I get from this? And you start asking, what does this experience mean to me? So if you're somebody trying to get to this place emotionally, here's what I think helps. Firstly, stop shaming yourself for feeling deeply. The world already encourages emotional numbness. You don't need to participate in your own emotional suppression just because vulnerability feels scary. Secondly, learn the difference between loving someone and abandoning yourself for someone. Those are not the same thing. You can love fully while still maintaining your boundaries, your identity, your friendship, your goals, your routines, standards, and self-respect. Thirdly, stop trying to control the outcome. You can't force timing. You cannot force permanence. And you cannot force reciprocity. Reciprocation, guys. You can't force them to reciprocate the feeling. I think it's pronounced reciprocity. Just, you can't make them feel the same way that you do, okay? All you can do is decide whether your feelings are honest. And lastly, remember that tomorrow really isn't promised. So say the kind thing. Hold their hand, rub their hair, tell people that you appreciate them, love them while they're here. Because one day, there will be a last conversation with everyone we know, and most of us won't realize that it's happening. You won't realize in the moment that that is your last conversation with that person. That's the part that stays in my head. Not fear, not desperation, just awareness. Awareness that life is fragile, that love matters. Awareness that I'd rather be remembered as somebody who loved honestly than somebody who spent their whole life emotionally guarded. And maybe some people will hear this episode and think, oh, that sounds so sad. But honestly, I think there's something beautiful about loving people sincerely without needing to possess them. I think there's something beautiful about allowing your heart to remain soft in a world that constantly tells us to harden ourselves, to protect us. And if you've ever loved somebody in that quiet, unconditional, complicated, human way, I hope you know you're not alone. Thanks for listening, guys. Remember to love honestly while you're here, because tomorrow isn't promised. Until next time, later.